Hey, Siki, this is next section. Hard hearts.
I cannot sit in any tea.
This is Hebrews 3. Hard hearts. Come on. There's room right there. Dada made a big space for you. Okay, we're going to do popcorn. God has a heavenly plan for your life.
So keep thinking about Jesus.
He brought the good news.
He is the one who shows the way to God.
We tell about him.
He always followed God.
We are in
No,
God.
actually, I read it wrong. He always followed God. They should add it as a follows because this doesn't...
No, followed. When Jesus was a man on earth, he always followed God. So they did it correct, son. He still follows God, but they're talking about when he was man.
He always followed God.
We are in God's family. If we keep following God,
we must stay brave.
We must keep our hope.
Make sure you don't have a sinful heart.
Make sure you believe.
Don't turn away from this living God.
Instead, help keep other one.
No, it's wrong.
Oh, instead, help keep each other. Okay, let's start again. Instead, help each other want to do what's right every day.
No, why did they make the 2 words? Every day should do.
It can be 2 words. It's correct both ways. Yeah, it can be 1 word or 2 words.
If it's 3 words.
No, that's not right.
No,
it can be 1 word or 2 words.
No, it could be every day.
You silly. Okay, keep reading. Come on.
Day.
Don't. Come on.
6 words. Don't let sins, lies make your hearts hard, so you don't care about God.
We share a place with Jesus.
We must keep following him to the end.
We must keep knowing for sure we are right.
No, we're right.
We're right. Okay.
It's like the song says.
Do you hear God's voice today? Then don't let your hearts get hard.
The people Moses led out of Egypt, let their hearts get hard.
God was...
Oh, there's a shorter section.
Okay. God was angry at them for 40 years.
Why he was angry at them?
Because they were so foolish, their hearts were so hard, remember? And after they left Egypt, and they had to wander around for 40 years.
Who Moses let out?
Siki, when they were in Egypt, okay?
They were bad?
They weren't bad, but they were pretty foolish. They were actually pretty foolish, but the problem was they were so used to being slaves and so used to the culture of Egypt that
slaves?
they were slaves in Egypt.
But
Siki.
the slaves are bad?
No, slaves aren't bad. It wasn't their fault for being slaves. Okay, they were slaves and they were used to the mentality of being slaves, and they were used to the culture of Egypt. That God had to purify that for their minds. So they had to wander around in the desert for 40 years to purify all that from their minds. And then their next generation was ready to go into the promised land. Okay, do you remember that? Moses?
Is there 40 people?
No, 40 years is where they walked around the desert.
That's how many people?
I remember all those numbers. Remember when we were reading 1 million people or something. Okay, I don't remember exactly, but it was a lot of people. Okay, at least 100,000, I want to say. Okay, it was a lot of people. I remember that. Okay, the people Moses led out of Egypt.
No, I read that.
Here,
no,
let's just
it's
read it
my
again
turn.
to refresh our memory.
No, it's my turn. Right, so they had to live in the desert all of their life.
Remember? And they died in the desert, and then their kids got to go to the promised land. Even Moses didn't get to go there. He died in the desert too.
Why?
Yeah. Because he was foolish, because God told him, speak to the rock to get water for your people.
Why is
Instead, Moses got angry. That was his sin right there, and he hit the rock. And God said, you know what? I love you, Moses. You're a good man, but discipline, Moses. You can't go to the promised land anymore. Okay? You let yourself get angry and become a spectacle in front of these people.
What's a spectacle?
Like an embarrassment. Okay? Moses was an embarrassment, so God said, no, you cannot go anymore. Okay? God said he would never have peace.
He will die.
They would never have peace. Okay? So
Die
all that group, they died in the desert, but their kids got to go to the promised land. Joshua got to go to the promised land. Remember? Yeah, remember that from Joshua? Okay. So that's what they're talking about in Hebrews.
But why they didn't go there?
Because they were so brainwashed with being slaves, with Egyptian culture.
Moses was a slave.
Moses was raised as a prince in Egypt. Okay? He was going to be a pharaoh.
What's a pharaoh?
A pharaoh, like a king in Egypt. He was raised as a king. Okay? Remember? Because Moses' mom put him in the river, and then the princess of Egypt, she found him, and she said, hey, I'm going to save this baby. She raised him like it was her own baby. So he was going to be like a king in Egypt. Okay? And then he found out, oh, I came from those slaves. And then he escaped and he went away. Okay? So Zeke...
And the girl was a slave?
The girl who raised Moses? No, she was a princess. Moses' mom put him in the river because she had faith in God. Oh, God's going to keep him safe. If I keep him, maybe he'll get killed by these bad Egyptians. Okay? But instead, she put him in the river. And that princess saved him. And she raised him like he was going to be a king.
But he was... Why he was angry and he died? He
had a episode of anger and not following God's directions. God said to do it exactly this way. He didn't follow directions. He was angry. And so he lived a long life, but he never got to walk his feet into the promised land. He got to see it with his eyes only. And that was his punishment. That was his punishment. But still, he still lived a full life. Okay? So the lesson there, okay? If we have a punishment, we take it like a man, like Moses did. Okay? We still have a good full life, but we still take our punishments like Moses did.
Okay, that was 9 minutes and 7 seconds.
Okay.
Actually,